Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel and for the 2022 channel update. I want to apologize to all of you who were waiting for that additional video Monday evening. Things came up and I wasn't able to come through on that video. But you are listening to it on a newer microphone that I have, the toner microphone. So you guys will have to let me know down in the comments if you like the new tone. I did have to spend quite a bit of time to get it balanced the way I would have liked, but we're on the new toner microphone, and it is a new tone for the channel. I did a lot of experimentations during 2021, and there are some features and systems and plans and ideas that I have for the channel coming into 2022. And to be more specific, you're probably going to be seeing more content on the channel. If you are watching this right now, you are probably one of or a part of my most dedicated subscribers and followers and viewers of the channel. So thank you guys specifically. Take a moment, thank yourselves for being a part of the channel, because I feel like I could have been far more aggressive as a creator. And there are reasons why I was a little more passive with it because of kind of old school YouTube mindsets, but things have changed. We're in a different era, and if we don't promote, if conservative voices like myself don't speak out, speak up with frequency, reaching an audience, then things could be a lot different. You can refer back to the Friday vlog, which will be coming out, of course, this Friday. You guys be sure to check that out, because there's going to be some very interesting details as to how I believe, or part of what we can look forward to in 2022. And that, of course, is the challenges that we face here on YouTube. For example, the censorship that we often deal with is not censorship for the purposes of censorship in the essence of protecting certain elements of things that people may say or do. It is, of course, because competing voices to the left are kind of pushed to the wayside. In other words, since the left can't compete with conservative ideology, whether it's Green Party, whether it's moderate, whether it's classical liberal, whether it's Republican or even right, the left doesn't want competition. So they engage in censorship, not to protect people, not to make sure that the content is family-friendly, cat videos, and kumbaya moments. It is because they don't want competition from anyone that could interfere with their narrative. We talk about that in the Friday vlog this week, specifically pertaining to the fact that it's never really been about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or our laws. It is about outcomes. The Democrats will use terms like threat to democracy, subverting democracy, interfering with democracy, interfering with voting, changing rules and regulations, which they did in 2020. So in 2022, the BuzWeaver channel is going to be producing more content. I'm still going to keep it quality content versus quantity content. And this is kind of an old school mindset when it comes to YouTube. I've always been rather hesitant about it because my intent was never to jam things down people's throat, but to be authentic and genuine with my content. And that was to present content that I believed in, that I liked, that I trusted, that I wanted to share with you guys so that it could be as organic as possible. I don't chase metrics. I don't go after telemetry. I know a lot of creators have to, because it's just part of what we have to do as creators, especially those of us with conservative voices who now have to contend with some of the additional changes that have been made to the channel. Now, the reason the Monday video was a little bit later was because what I have to face typically as a conservative content creator is that I very rarely can get content out that's going to generate a lot of traction or suggestions or recommended, because a majority of my content is immediately demonetized. And what that means is, well, what it means to YouTube is they're so scared of cancel culture, outrage mob, and woke culture that they would much prefer to demonetize and censor content first to make sure that they don't have to deal with all the cancel culture people hounding them on Twitter, hounding them in private messages, or exposing them, or having the media go after them. And so here's what I have to deal with. You see this message. Hi, BuzWeaver, great news. After manually reviewing your video, we've determined that it is suitable for all advertisements. Of course, it's 24 hours later. the main part of my viewers are going to be watching it as it is released. When I publish videos across social media, that's when the content is fresh. That's when everyone is going to be clicking on it and watching it. 24 hours later, it's already gone. People's attention spans are not that solid anymore. And so this hurts us as creators when these content. But here, let me show you some more things that also hurt. The other day, the Lost History channel, which I do about 80% of the voiceover work, decided to do a live stream. Well, this is what happened when I tried to post to everyone who was commenting, particularly those that were mentioning me by name or my channel name. Can't send message because you subscribe to this channel while watching a video made for kids. What? I don't make videos for children, and neither does the Lost History channel. His settings aren't set for just children because of COPPA. We've talked about COPPA back in 2019 and 2020, which is another area of issues that has created problems for creators, is COPPA. That is the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, which also terrified YouTube and made them make all kinds of bizarre decisions about their direction and what they're going to be doing. But that's another example of what we have to contend with as creators. And so a lot of our content, particularly here when it comes to current events, is not always going to be at the top of the search list. In other words, when you guys look up any of this content, for example, the mRNA vaccine banned on Twitter, if you look that up, you're going to probably get 19, 20, 50 different videos from the mainstream media. So your guys' participation here is tremendously important, liking and sharing. But I also understand that it can be overwhelming, particularly if you're going to new tech, like I have done. For example, I'm on BitChute, which has seen a nice, steady sense of growth, as well as the centralized video hosting site, Rumble, which has also seen some good growth. And then, of course, on Odyssey. And I feel kind of bad in a way with Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute because I don't promote these channels as much as I do YouTube. And there's an interesting conundrum when it comes to this. The people on new tech often ask me, well, do you have a link to something other than YouTube? And so then essentially what happens is I then link them to Rumble, BitChute, or Odyssey. And then, of course, they then subscribe there. So my growth on alternative tech or new tech is doing quite well. Here on YouTube, really what I need to be doing here on YouTube is not necessarily being as proactive over the course of other new tech areas. In other words, promoting it on new tech, but engagement here from the perspective of how the AI works on YouTube. Now, again, I'm not chasing metrics. I'm just bringing content because I think the voices of conservatives, the ideas, the concepts that are out there that are being censored in many cases, as I just demonstrated to you with the demonetization, is very important and very critical now, especially in 2022, as we enter into the midterms. And I think it's going to be very important that people hear conservative voices like mine. And I will be working through some of the new tech sites. There have been some challenges on some of those sites. Of course, they're constantly being attacked by the left-wing groups. And of course, we've seen the bannings on Twitter and so forth, particularly from Dr. Robert Malone. I did a video on that earlier this week. You can see it right here, obviously, is one I just mentioned. It did get a decent amount of views despite the fact that it was demonetized. You see, it was demonetized for up to 24 hours, but yet it has 83 views after a day. If it was not demonetized, if it was not affected, it would probably have as many as my video shorts. As you notice here, this particular video short has 572 views. I've had some of these shorts as many as 5,000 views, and that is because they're typically not restricted. They're not usually demonetized. They're usually not suppressed. They're usually not held down and suggested and recommended for 24 or more hours before people can see them. They are rotated as a normal video, just the way YouTube used to be. But we're in a different time, we're in a different era, and different things are happening. I'm going to be much more proactive. I'm going to be much more active in it, not because I feel that YouTube is helping me and encouraging me, but because YouTube is discouraging me. Okay? I know that sounds kind of weird, but I'm not going to allow YouTube, I'm not going to allow cancel culture, outrage mob, and woke to control what I do, to control my content and control what I do. They censor because they can't compete. The left censors across all social media because they can't compete with the ideas and the options, the substance, the quality, the productivity that is offered by conservatism, conservatives, or others, moderates, the left, and classical liberals who give people a better just basically a better outlook on things and something that they can demonstrate is actually happening, as we saw with President Trump, who was actually benefiting the country. But apparently it took someone like Joe Biden, or the establishment surrogate Joe Biden, for people to see what the establishment was doing the 4 years that President Trump was there. Trump was benefiting the country. They had to make absolutely sure that that was not going to happen. And now you see what happens when it doesn't. Some of the most ardent supporters of Biden, some of the most biggest supporters within family members that I have and or friends of our family, are incredibly disillusioned by Joe Biden. In the Friday vlog, I'll go into the fact that he is behind in the polls even when compared to President Trump. That's right. He is behind in the polls. He is abysmally failing, or I should say the establishment is succeeding tremendously, and they're blaming it all on Biden, or he's the scapegoat. So I want to thank all of you guys who are watching now. You guys are the dedicated people. You guys are the ones who will be watching this, providing the telemetry for it. But into this, as we go into 2022, I plan on doing more content for the channel. So all of you who are set for notification, be advised. For all of you on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble, content will be there as well. Maybe even exclusives like I did. You guys were amazing with the exclusives. That way I didn't have to monitor my speech, be aware of what I had to say, change things around, change wording, change this, change that, change the other, just to be able to complete an idea and a thought. So I'm very happy for all that. Thank you guys for the continued support. Yes, the channel did hit 7,000 subscribers. I didn't necessarily go into any type of celebratory postings or anything, because I really feel like the channel should be far further down the road with subscribers than it is now. You guys have been amazing. We're going to continue to be amazing. Thank you for the continued support, and make sure you stay tuned to the channel, as I will have continuing coverage here and content for you guys this year. If you haven't already and you're watching this on YouTube, that would be the channel icon appearing right there on the screen to subscribe. You can click on that to obviously subscribe, along with notifications, as well as being able to see the content that's here on the channel, as it will be flowing. And I will see you guys probably in the Friday vlog.